Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Transwest Truck Trailer RV. We're located in Frederick, Colorado. That's about a half an hour north of Denver, just off of I-25. Today's truck video, we're going to focus on commonly asked questions that I get a lot. So I thought maybe we could kind of go over that today to answer some of those for you guys out there. And then when we're done doing that, we're going to take a look at the truck we're sitting in, which is the last of the 2020 Summit haulers. So the most commonly asked question I get is, what is the warranties with this? I mean, I'm spending quite a bit of money buying something, so what warranties come with this? So I took the liberty of printing the warranty that comes with this specific truck out, and I thought we could just kind of go over those together. So the basic vehicle warranty is 2 years and unlimited miles. So for you guys that are hauling coast to coast or border to border, it doesn't matter the miles. The vehicle's covered for 2 years. The battery itself is 1 year or 100,000 miles. As we go down, they call it bright work, and I researched it. Basically, that's the chrome that's on the truck is 6 months. The structure to the cab is 5 years. So there's a lot of faith coming from Freightliner that they're going to cover that for 5 years. Corrosion is 6 months, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit in different terms of corrosion. Cross members are 5 years. We get on down to the emission stuff. That is 5 years, 100,000 miles on basically all of the emissions things. The frame rails themselves are 5 years and unlimited miles. The axles are 2 years. The paint is good up for 1 year or 100,000 miles there. Paint on the chassis itself is 6 months. The transfer case is 2 years, unlimited miles. And the transmission, this has the Allison transmission in it, and those are good for 5 years and unlimited miles as well. So we're going to get into it, and I just highlighted some of the more important stuff, so we're not reading it, word for word all the way through. So the basic chassis on the vehicle, coverage includes all factory installed components of the chassis and vehicle itself that are not excluded elsewhere in the warranty or described as having a different time, distance, or hours as listed separately on each vehicle coverage tables. So basically what that we just went through is summed up right here. So the batteries, basically, it comes with 2 batteries. Those are warranted for a year. Bright work, which I told you, that's chrome and polished aluminum. So wherever you see chrome on the truck, that is covered under warranty as well. Now corrosion, this gets a little bit touchy because a lot of that depends on where you live, to be honest with you. So surface rust caused by chips, this is not included, okay? So surface rust caused by chips or scratches in the paint, that is not covered. And this was a big one I highlighted. Corrosion caused by salinity in the environment or corrosive salts or chemicals used on the road. So that's not as a big of a player here, but you guys back east know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to corrosion. Now as we get to the driveline, there's another one I thought was fairly important. It includes drive shaft tubing, U-joints, yokes, and separate bearings and splines. As we come on down to paint, coverage included all factory painted and exterior painted surfaces. So wherever there's paint on the vehicle, guys, that's pretty much covered there. Now let's talk about the powertrain. That's pretty much the basic warranty. A very simple way to remember that, as I was taught, is the powertrain is anything that the oil touches. So that's the expensive parts, as you know. So the new product limited warranty covers product repairs to correct any malfunction occurring during the warranty period resulting from defects in materials or workmanship. So limitations, we really don't have to worry about it here. The warranty does not apply to products that are sold or domiciled outside the United States. So you guys are buying that truck from us, that's something we're not going to have to worry about. So we pretty much covered what the warranty will cover. Let's talk about some things now that it does not cover. Competition. So if you're using it for racing, tractor pulls, or other motorsports, things like that, the warranty is void. Now, parts of the subject to consumption during the normal service life are routinely replaced during normal maintenance. Services are covered up to 15,000 miles. So basically they give us a 15,000 mile break-in period. So if some of the smaller stuff, you know, fails in that first 15,000 miles, we're going to be covered there as well. Things such as antennas, belts, brake linings, things of that nature. They give us the 15,000 miles, the fire extinguisher, the glad hands, things like that, you know, that failed during that break-in time will be covered. And there's more on corrosion. It basically covers, you know, the cab, things like that, as long as no damage has been done. In terms of the glass, the mirrors, and the lens, conditions excluded from the warranty. So again, stuff that it does not cover. Breakage, if you break the window, obviously they're not going to cover that. Chips, scratches, cracks, things of that nature. And here's the breaking in period that I just talked about. And if we look down here, Freightliner is right here, up to 15,000 miles break-in period. Another commonly asked question is, how does maintenance work? How often do I have to have it maintained, and what all transpires when I take it to a shop? How does that work? So we're going to get into that a little bit. There's basically two services. There's the A service and the B service. And I talked with our service department this morning to see how these are done. Well, they've just gone through the B service. The new and the used have basically treated as gone through the B. So when you bring it back the first time, and it's stated in previous videos, a lot of that determines on how often and how hard you drive the trucks. You know, if you're doing the short little trips like that, we may need to bring them in, you know, at 10 to 15,000 miles. But if we're setting the cruise and going coast to coast, you know, or border to border, long trips like that where there isn't maybe as hard on the engine, we can stretch that out to about 20,000 miles. So the first time you bring it in, we're going to do the A service. So that is replace up to 44 quarts of oil, new oil filter, new fuel filters. They're going to check all the fluid levels for you, check the gearboxes, and fill the washer fluid. So fairly basic service when it comes to the A. So after you bring it back and we do the A service, you take it out and bring it back again for service. The next time we're going to do, they recommend you do the B service. Now some guys choose to do this every time, but you certainly don't have to. And that is very similar to the A, as you can see, but they also include a 35-point vehicle inspection. And I included that. So basically some of the things they go over: check the windshield, check all the suspension, the drive lines, all of that. They go through all of the belts, all of the hoses. They check the exhaust, make sure everything is going okay there. Thoroughly inspect the engine for any type of oil leaks, fuel leaks, water leaks, things like that. Check the differential and transmission, wheel seals, tires and lugs. They go through the brakes, the air leaks, the lights, and check the mud flaps as well. So that's a couple of commonly asked questions that I get, and hopefully that'll make things a little bit clearer for you going forward for after the purchase, because Transwest is a little bit different, especially from other old car dealerships or maybe out there. So when you purchase a vehicle from someone, I mean, how often after that do you hear from the customer? Well, chances are not very often. Well, our view is a little bit different than that. Purchasing the vehicle is just the start of our relationship. I want it thoroughly known to you that if you have problems, that I'm here to help, or Marlon's here to help, or Mark's here to help. Anybody in our department, you know, will surely do what we can to make things right and make things smoother for you. So with that being said, let's take a look at this truck. Like I stated earlier, this is the last of the 2020 M2 106s. The conversion on this is Summit Hauler. So if we just take a look at the cab real quick, up here is the backup camera, and you can see that'll stay on all the time if you want it to, which if you're going up and down the road, we can kind of see people in our blind spots as well. Over here is the air horn. As we come on down, gauges are pretty self-explanatory. One thing you'll notice is that it has 2 gauges for the air. Well, that's because there are 2 air tanks in it, so you can see what's going on in both. Windows are right here. This comes with a 6-speed automatic transmission. So right here, right now, we're in neutral with the brake on. There's reverse and there's drive. And as you're going up and down the road, it's going to tell you what gear you're in. Mirror heaters, here's the dump valve. That simply lets air out of the rear of the truck. So an example of when you would use that is when you go to hook up your trailer. We can lock the differential right here. Intermittent lights right here. And this runs the fan, kicking hot or cool air back into the back seat. Now the R line and set up ready to go. If your trailer does have trailer brakes, we can hook the glad hands up for you, and that's ready to go as well. This is the trailer brake here. This is the engine brake. So once that's set on high, if we're going down a hill and that kicks on, you actually have 287 horsepower coming back at you to slow the truck down. So a huge safety advantage in that engine brake, especially, for example, we're right next door to the Rocky Mountains. If you're coming down one of those steep grades, that would sure benefit you to use that. So now let's jump outside and take a look outside. As we take a look directly from the rear of the truck, a couple of things to notice that are important. This is aluminum. This isn't steel. And the reason we use that is longevity. So 5-10 years down the road, this shouldn't rust on you. So it's going to look very similar to what it does today. It does come with a gooseneck ball and a gooseneck hitch set up and ready to go. We can convert that for a 5th wheel if we're pulling an RV trailer, something along those lines. This is for the Voyager system. Now that's that backup camera that you and I just saw. You can actually hook up an additional 3 cameras to that. So I've had customers that maybe hook up cameras on the side, or the livestock and horse guys can actually put a camera in the trailer as well. So you can kind of see what's going on in the trailer as you're coming up and down the road. This is our hookup for our trailer lights right here. Underneath this plate is the hitch for a bumper pull trailer. So if that's your desire and that's what you need to do is pull a bumper trailer, we're good to go with that as well. Now, Summit Hauler conversion has an extra 1,000 pounds on top of the rear axle. And the reason for that is if we're driving without a trailer, that helps with traction. So if we find ourselves in mud, it helps us get out. In addition to that, it prevents hydroplaning as well. As we continue to walk along the side of the truck, you'll notice it has 3 storage components. It's lined up at the top as well to protect that for years and years of use to come. It has a little step right here which we can use to get up and in the trailer. Short-legged people like myself kind of appreciate that, to get in and secure the trailer as we go on. Now the front storage component right here is where we have the DEF fluid stored, but right there is a hookup for an air hose, so there's live air if we need it to be. The batteries to the truck are located here. Now if we find ourselves in a jam and we need to jump start the truck, we don't have to do it there. Here in a little bit I'll show you where we will do that. As we take a look at the back seat, you'll see plenty of space. We can get a shot of the DVD from here. Just like all haulers, this does make down into a bed by simply pressing the button. Just like that. This is for a trickle charger. So for driving in the night, when you use that DVD player or have the lights on and we're near an electrical outlet, we can plug that in. And basically that assists the batteries in maintaining life. This is a DEF tank, which holds up to 6 gallons of DEF. It comes with 2 50-gallon fuel tanks, one on each side. As the truck's sitting there, it'll balance itself out. But when you go to fuel the truck, you're going to want to do that independently. Take a look inside the driver's seat. It has air ride, so this would adjust how much air you want in the seat. Hot, heated, or cooled seats. In addition, this is for the lumbar system, so how much air you want in the back. This is a kill switch right there. As you can tell, there's a lot of voltage going through this truck, so it's generally a good practice to get into. Once you shut the truck off, to go ahead and use that kill switch. Here's where you start the truck. When you go to start it, turn it halfway, let those gauges go all the way over and come all the way back. If we get in a hurry and start it a little prematurely, there is a chance that it'll kick a code that simply doesn't exist. This little pedal right here actually adjusts the steering wheel. So when you're sitting in the driver's seat, press that little pedal and adjust that steering wheel to where you want it to be. This is the block heater located underneath here. This truck is stock number 5N191492. The truck comes with Michelin 255 80 R22.5 tires. One thing unique about Summit Hauler right here is a tire balancer. As stated in previous videos, that has BBs in it with some hydraulic oil, and as you gain speed and momentum, that's going to balance the entire rotating mass. Let's take a look underneath the hood. That is the Cummins 8.9 liter engine. It offers 350 horsepower. It is coupled with the Allison 3200 TRV transmission. Now, I did show you where the batteries are. If we do need to jump the truck, we can do that actually right here. You can see the different colors underneath the hood. Where we see yellow is stuff that you and I can check. For example, right here is where we would check the oil. Now, one thing nice about this hood, if we're under there working on things and a gust of wind comes up, that hood's gonna stop, all right? The only way to get it down is to manually force it down. And finally, let's take a look at the truck from directly in the front. The biggest thing to notice here, guys, is the size of that windshield. That's 2,500 square inches of glass. And you compare that to a lot of the competition, there's a lot more surface area to this windshield, which obviously makes visibility a lot easier, so you can detect potential hazards coming at you from the front and from the sides as well. So again, this is the last of the 2020s that we have on the market. If you have any questions about this, please give me a call. My cell phone number is 970-370-4067. The work extension 303-684-3404, or feel free to email me, larry.vickers@transwest.com. Thanks for tuning in today.